Festivals, one of the best times of the year for music fans. But how do musicians get involved and make the most of them? This week, we speak to Emma Zillmann of From the Fields, as well as more top musicians who've played a festival or two. This is Anyone Can Play Guitar, the podcast for musicians and music lovers that takes you behind the scenes of the music industry. This week is brought to you in partnership with MGR Music. Ever wanted to learn an instrument, hone your skills, or pick up something completely new? You can get so far by yourself, however professional guidance can make all the difference. With a network of tutors right across the UK and rates starting from as little as £15 per hour, visit mgrmusic.com now to get started.
Hello and a very warm welcome to episode 44 of the show, which is all about festivals, with me Ben and him,
James. Warm it was as well, Ben, when we met Emma Zillmann.
Yes, it was. It was in a Manchester office the day we saw Paul Simon.
Yes.
In the very, very, very hot heat of 2018.
It's been a while.
Been a while.
But
sorry. That's not needed. That bit was not needed.
It got full Nickelback.
Went full stained, more like it.
Stained. Last week we covered touring, where we heard from loads of great artists, including We Are Sionists.
You'd honestly probably be better off driving through the night and standing up awake outside of the next day's venue.
Today it's festivals, and it was a warm welcome, as festivals are typically a warm summertime event-ish.
Yes. Sometimes it rains, Ben.
It does. Festivals, James, though, is a unique perspective on life. You wake up at the crack of dawn from your tent, can of bow in the hand, while burning some sausages over a disposable barbecue. Definitely burning those sausages. See how many of your tent pegs have liberated themselves from the pitch, and get ready for a full day of music and hopefully sunny weather.
Yeah, it's not many scenarios where I'd have a can of cider.
Socially acceptable can of cider.
And the only reason why you'd have a can of cider typically with your breakfast is because you can marginally get away with that a little better than a warm can of beer.
I always find it is one of your favourite days when you're at a festival as well.
Yes, very good point. Things get warm in the tent though.
And perspectives get marginalised in a tent.
So, what do festivals mean for those in the music industry? In season 1, we spoke to the BBC's very own Mark Radcliffe, who's been going to Glastonbury since forever ago.
And when people always ask me who you're looking forward to at festivals, and I always say the same thing, which is I'm looking forward to a surprise. I'm looking forward to someone I don't know I like yet.
So coming up on today's episode, we're going to hear from both sides of the festival world. We'll hear from Emma Zillmann, who we spoke about already, from the Fields. And we'll also speak to some of our guests we've already spoke to, like Justin Lockley of Editors, or Sam Duckworth, aka Get Kit Wear Kit Fly, as well as new guests for this season, The Blinders, founding member of The Killers, Dave Keuning, as well as Tyler from the band State Champs. Here, you can expect a bit of this.
And really, as a booker, what I'm looking for is 300 people turned up to see us play last month. You know, I don't really mind about how many hits on Facebook you've got.
And a bit of this.
It's nice to feel like an Alka-Seltzer band.
Remember, a great way to support the show is to go on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts and give us a rating and a review. It really does make a massive difference for the show. Now, on with the episode. So, the bulk of this episode centres around the conversation that we had with Emma, which took place in the middle of June 2018. That timescale will help a little bit with the timescales that are discussed later in the episode. So let's kick off with a little bit about what Emma and the rest of the From the Fields team do. Over to you, Emma.
Sure. From the Fields, we're a festival promoter based in Manchester. There's 10 of us in the office now, I think, full-time. I'm the programming director, so I'm responsible for all of the music programming across the events that we do. We don't just do music camping festivals, we also do the sort of creative production for a festival down in Bournemouth called Bournemouth Arts by the Sea. And then we've also got Kendal Calling, which is up in Cumbria. That's 25,000 people. And this year we have, this will be a good test, Hacienda Classical, Catfish in the Bottle Bin, The Libertines, and Run TMC headlining. Next week we have Blue Dot, which is going into its third year now. It's 12,000 people, and this year we have Chemical Brothers headlining, alongside Flaming Lips and Future Islands. And we also run a music industry conference and showcase for emerging artists festival in the Northern Quarter in Manchester in November. Cool. So we're just starting to plan that as well.
And a festival programme director is what exactly?
As programme director, what do you do? What does your day look like?
It's a lot of emails, a lot of the time. It's more like what the year looks like.
Right.
That's more of a difference for me, because this time of year is very different to how it's going to look in a couple of months. We're already talking about next year now. It doesn't normally start this early. I think everybody's panicking a bit, but normally I'll go and spend a few weeks in London in September, meet all the booking agents, just one after another for literally a few weeks, and they will take me through their rosters, talk about who's available, who's coming back with new music, who's going to be out, who's not going to be out, and then I can take all of that information, go away, digest it all, work out how we want our lineups to look, put together some sort of dream situation that will completely change by Christmas, and then we start placing offers on the headliners then, once we have a bit of an idea of where we could go with it, and that's, in conjunction with everybody in the office, we all sit down and talk about lineups. It would be a terrible festival if it was all the bands that I wanted to book.
Well, it wouldn't be for you.
It wouldn't be for me, but no one would come probably.
So just how key are booking agents if you're looking to get yourself onto the festival scene?
So booking agents the main place to go to get bands, or is there other sort of avenues that you explore to get people on?
So there are other avenues. I actually enjoy finding new bands, so I'll go to a lot of gigs and actively try and find new music and listen to recommendations from my friends or other promoters, or I keep an eye on the music industry press. But the booking agents are the filter, if you like. They are there. If a band's got an agent, it's probably because they've got a label and a manager and there's other things going on, and you kind of know it's a sort of a safe bet that they're going to be doing things in the next year or 2 years or really progressing. So that's what I call them. They're a filter. Yeah, they kind of do, because there's thousands and thousands of applications and people wanting to play. So there's only a finite amount of hours in the day that I can actually process all of that. So that's where booking agents come in handy. But I do say to new artists that are just starting out, don't chase booking agents, let them come to you. If you're doing well and there's something happening for you, they'll find you. That's their job. They are scouts. They have to be on things before anyone else. Often a band will have a booking agent before they have anything else in place. And a good booking agent will then help you with strategy and be able to put you in touch with all of the other parts of the team.
So how is it that festival lineups are decided?
So definitely top down, which is scary because you might spend 3 months sorting out those top ones and then not able to move forward with anything else until you've locked them in. And the reason for that is just purely financial. If a headliner wants to confirm it but they need an X amount of extra fee, you don't want to be like, oh well, I've spent the rest of my budget, I can't have you now.
Yeah.
You want to be able to be like, oh yeah, okay, we'll take from the rest of the budget because it's worth it to get those headliners.
And is that top-down approach also a bit, so I'm thinking you wouldn't sort the rest of the lineup out until you know, right, well, this particular band who are this style are going to be playing on the Saturday, and therefore we want similar sort of acts sort of supporting or on the same day? Is it?
Yeah, I'd say at Kendal that's actually the opposite, that I try and make it quite varied in terms of genre, but for Blue Dot, certainly I do try and get the artists to complement each other a bit. If musically it's really not working, I can always maybe move it around, and that is a consideration, but also it's a festival, so I think people are understanding. I think we had Snoop Dogg into the Kaiser Chiefs once and Brian Wilson into the Editors or something, maybe the other way around. So it's kind of like, you know, I think, is it Bugsy Malone into Shed 7 this year? Something like that. So I just think if there's, you know, there's a long enough changeover that people are going to have a good time at one and then a good time at the next, and not really think too much about how it's feeding into it musically.
Yeah, we did see Shed 7, then Dizzy Rascal. So
did you? So there you go.
Yeah,
that seems quite similar, yeah.
Yeah. And there are a lot of bands that play at festivals. Are they all big bands attached to big labels? So if we look at Kendal for a second, how many bands, at the top of your head, I'm not putting you on the spot yet, play Kendal?
I have no idea what the exact amount is, but I think it's somewhere between 350 and 400, maybe a bit less.
That's quite a lot.
That's a coordination.
It's a lot, yeah.
Yeah. So, again, I'm not putting you on the spot, but I'm going to guess, how many of those slots are for new and emerging artists? Unsigned or otherwise?
I'd say the majority.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. Most of the artists that we book don't have agents or labels or management.
And was that always a conscious choice from the start? Was Ben and Andy that set it up originally?
Yeah,
is that right?
Ben and Andy set it up originally. Andy's always done all the bookings. I don't know if it's so much of a conscious choice. There's a lot about Kendal that's to do with supporting local talent, and that's definitely always been something that the festival's worked hard at. So maybe because of that, a lot of the stages are booked by different partners.
So with all these bands playing, what other advice is there for getting your foot through the festival door? Brace yourself for the emergency services in the background coming into play in this section.
So if James and I will go back in time now, and we were in our band, still doing what we were doing, and we were ready for the step up to festivals, because I imagine it is a step up for a band to go from the local pub to the festival stage. Yeah. It sounds different and everything. Yeah. How would I go about that? To get on your radar?
I think my advice to new bands is always start local, so contact your local festivals. I'm a lot more likely to book a band or an artist that's from Cumbria than I am a band that's the same sort of level from Brighton, just because they're closer and more of their friends will come and see them and they'll talk about it in the sort of local town, and that's important for us. So yeah, start local, contact your local festivals. There'll be at least one, like, you know, fairly big sized festival near you that's pretty established. And if not, contact all the smaller ones. And what's another bit of good advice? But work on building your own following up. If things are happening, if people are coming to see you and you're gigging and people are turning up, then the right people will hear about it. That's my advice, really. Like,
I'm wondering, when you were talking about sort of going through booking agents, there's almost an element of de-risking it for you, in the sense that we played with loads of bands who are really unreliable, and you don't want a whole roster of people that, well, are they actually going to turn up? Are they going to be professional? Are they going to put on a good show? All the rest of it.
Yeah. I mean, there is that as well. I'd like to say I'm 90% certain that everyone turning up will put on a good show if I've done my research properly. I don't think I've booked anyone terrible. But the booking agents do de-risk it slightly in terms of, I think it goes back to what I was saying before, they just have a bit more of a professional operation, maybe if they've got a manager and a press person and somebody to take care of. If we ask them to post about the festival, someone's actually going to do it rather than being left with the band.
One of the key things I would like to know as well, are there any barriers to getting included? So if you were just a new band, you've been going for 6 months, you haven't thought about booking agents, you haven't thought about managers, but you are outstanding.
Yeah.
You would still be considered. If
Totally.
a CD popped.
Yeah.
If a piece of music.
I don't actually have a CD player. Fun story. Yeah. I have no way to listen to CDs anymore. But I call it like a 3-pronged attack sometimes. Like if I have read about a band somewhere, I read so much stuff about so much music. So I might have seen, a press release somewhere or like an article in a blog. And then 2 weeks later, somebody said to me, "Oh, I saw this band play and they were really good," and it was the same band. And then maybe one of my other friends has been like, "Oh, have you heard about this band? You should listen to this song." And it's the same band. That's when I'm going to be like, "Oh, right, shit, I should probably do something because this band's clearly doing something." That makes me sound like I'm really lazy, but there is honestly so much music to get through. Like you need those filters to kind of work for you. Otherwise, I would probably explode. But I'd say other festival bookers might hate me for saying this, but I'd say definitely try and find a personal email for not a personal email, a work email for the bookers, or some other way of getting in touch with them, because I get lots of emails from bands and I will always listen to it, and occasionally I will book them. And if they email me at the right time, what happened the other day, someone had literally just pulled out. The next email into my inbox was this band who have played before a few times, and it was just like getting to that crunch time of having to do the programme, and this band had pulled out, and then I got this email and I thought, do you know what, I know them, they've played before, they know the festival, they love it, it'll make their day, bam bam bam, do you want to play, done, and then I don't have to think about it anymore. And I was like, and I know it's not risky for me because they've been before.
But that makes sense. It's like just a bit about right.
It is a lot about timing, which is annoying because there's no real right time. It's just when the right time is for the booker. But
even the other bit, if you've seen one good thing about something, well, every band could have had a one-off thing.
I hate that in bios and emails when they're like, "Oh, we've had a premiere on Clash." It's like my grandma could get a premiere on Clash. You don't really. It's good. It's really good, and for a new band that haven't done anything like that before, it might be really exciting for them. But you need the ongoing momentum, and really, as a booker, what I'm looking for is 300 people turned up to see us play last month. I don't really mind about how many hits on Facebook you've got. It's more about friends on Facebook, or streams. Again, it's like sometimes booking agents even try and pitch a band to me by saying, "Oh, they've had 50 million streams." I'm like, yeah, but who's buying a ticket to see them? Is anybody coming? No. Okay, well.
Yeah, you're not selling the streams, are you?
No.
Yeah. How do you almost verify some of these things? Because I could easily see some bands out there who just come with this amazing resume saying they've done all this stuff and all the rest of it. How would you sort of pull the real the reality and sort of go, yeah, well, you know what, they've said they've played to 300 people last week, but have they?
It's a very good point. I don't verify it. I guess
it's hard, right?
If there was an example like that and it pricked my ears up, then maybe I'd do a bit more research into it. And if you're a band that knows what they're doing, you'd have pictures of that 300 person room, people having a good time and maybe a live video, and then once somebody does start doing some research into you, they'll find all the things that they need to book you.
This week is brought to you in partnership with MGR Music. Ever wanted to learn an instrument, hone your skills, or pick up something completely new? You can get so far by yourself, however professional guidance can make all the difference. With a network of tutors right across the UK and rates starting from as little as £15 per hour, visit mgrmusic.com now to get started.
Now it's time for our regular good cause slot. This week, naturally, it is Emma's choice. But definitely come to that part of the episode where we talk about charity or good cause of the week that we would like, if you would like to highlight one in particular. Is anything specific?
Yeah, absolutely. So my director, Andy, and his brother, Jamie, who have both been running Kendal Keuning for the last 14 years. Their grandmother was heavily involved with the guide dogs. So Kendal Calling sponsor a guide dog, or we have done for the last 2 years. And we have guide dog collection tins on site as well. And they come and visit us in the office, and it's great. So yeah, that would be the charity that I'd say to support. It's guidedogs.org.uk, and you can donate there.
Now, before we go back to our conversation with Emma, let's remind ourselves why we love festivals. They're pretty awesome.
Yes, they are.
Sam Duckworth, Get Cape, Wear Cape Fly, is a big fan. Now, the sound check that you'll have heard in previous episodes is still going strong.
It is.
So bear with us.
I love going on first on a festival.
Right, okay, yeah.
I think when there's like 7 to 12 of us, and it's horns and it's euphoric and it's half an hour, you just feel like it's nice to feel like an Alka-Seltzer band.
Okay.
We did the dance tent at Reading on Sunday this year, and we opened up the dance tent at Leeds on Friday, and it just felt like, okay, we're the first thing you're going to see in Leeds, and in Reading it's like, yep, you got one more day to get through the rain. There's stuff that you're going to get. You know what I mean? You can just bring that energy, and that's really fun. But I love festivals. I love going to them.
Cool. Me too, yeah.
I love watching bands. I love hanging out. I love making the most of the very few times that it is sunny, and I've grown up with live music through festivals and through gigs, probably more than I listen to music in any other format.
Right.
So for me, festivals are the absolute best.
Yeah, it's different, isn't it? It's like your own cult, your own world within a world.
I think also you just get that, like mini societies kind of create and cluster, and I think that when a festival has a really positive environment, it's often rare to go through like 2 or 3 days of human life in just a positive bubble where your only real stresses are the elements and food.
Yeah, you don't have
and then your own misgivings that have come from however much fun you've had. And I think that that's great, and it's grass, so there's no hard surfaces if you fall over. I like it. People unhinge, they kind of just loosen up a little bit. Do you know what I mean? I think you get a microcosm of that at gigs, but at festivals, if you're 2 days in, 3 days in,
you're in it together.
Yeah, you're in it together and you're loose.
Yeah,
and
you're totally right.
And that to me is like, to me, I find that intensely inspirational politically.
Right. Yeah.
Because I feel like there's that many people that kind of just know how the environment works, and it's a different environment to the traditional world.
Yeah.
But it hasn't been that big a job convincing most people to just stick within the boundaries of it. And the boundaries of it are less, dictated by commercial structures or the economics of being alive. They're more of about freedom.
Yeah.
And I find that festival is my favourite for that.
I know what you're saying, and I always find that festivals are expensive because at the end you come back with 10 new bands you never thought they'd never heard of, and you just dive into their back catalogue. So it's a great thing.
Mate, it works both ways, isn't it? It sucks for everybody that falls in love with new bands and has to buy records, but it's also great if you're in a band where people fall in love with you and buy records.
It's exactly why we do it, I guess.
And it's like summertime's good. In the UK we have to be outdoors in the summer. Because the winter sucks. We're in that changing of the seasons now where the wind, rain I don't like, cold I don't like, but the combination of the wind being forceful enough that you're going to get the rain blown inside your coat. Nah, I'm not up for. And the realisation that I've got 3 months of it is dawning.
Oh yeah.
And that's why
by the time we get into October,
you've just got that little injection of life and outdoors and
fresh air.
Yeah.
Now, for anyone who's watched Glastonbury as a youngster, either in the 90s or now or whenever, it's probably their first introduction to festivals on the TV. And one of the big things that always crops up is the weather. Sometimes it plays ball, sometimes it doesn't.
We just love the weather in the UK.
We do.
I mean, let's be honest, we often mention the weather on the podcast.
We do.
It's ingrained within us as being from the United Kingdom.
Now, last year we had a great summer of festivals because the weather was inexplicably warm. This year,
it was very warm.
We have had all of last year's rain and this year's rain. I spoke to Tyler from State Champs at the Newcastle Riverside earlier this year, 2019.
New guest alert.
New guest alert.
Give me a snippet on State Champs, Ben.
State Champs, I would describe them as a punky pop band from upstate New York. And when I caught them, it was just days after they played the Download Festival, which was a particularly wet Download Festival, where a lot of people who went to that festival didn't actually go to that festival because they just turned around and went, I'm just going to tap out of this one. So here's what Tyler had to say about the recent festival at Download.
Download was awesome. We got there and just went for it, crushed the set, and feel like the day was really front loaded for us. We had a lot of press and stuff to do earlier in the day, and it was really good. It was in the middle of, so we're in this hell stretch of shows.
Right.
There was a booking agency slip up, let's just call it that, where we were in Switzerland on the weekend of the 13th and 14th.
Okay.
And we were supposed to play, we thought we were playing Greenfield Festival on the 13th.
Mm-hmm.
But we found out that we were playing it on the 14th, and we were doing Southampton on the 15th. So,
Okay.
as you can imagine, Interlaken, Switzerland, all the way up to Southampton, pretty freaking long drive.
Yeah.
So we're still in the middle of that stretch. It started in Switzerland and Southampton, Download, London yesterday, and they've been really long days, and every day feels like a week. So I feel like this is just my life now.
You're Bristol tomorrow, aren't you? So
Bristol.
That's no short.
No, it's all the way down to Bristol, and then we finally have a goddamn day off. We're going to spend it in London.
All right, yeah.
And I'm probably not going to talk to anyone. No offense, Colin.
Just go and catch a show, go and catch
Yeah,
a moment or something like that.
I like to walk around.
Yeah.
Play Pokemon Go, whatever.
All right.
Just
chill.
Might try to do some shopping, which would feel nice. But Download was really great.
Which day were you at Download?
We were this Sunday.
So-
Were we Sunday? Saturday? Sunday?
We're Sunday.
Sunday.
Friday was when all it looked like it was going to get cancelled at one point with the
Yeah. I guess all the campers showed up Wednesday and Thursday, and it started just pissing down, and it was brutal.
Yeah.
Luckily, and also, we all had this master plan. We're like, all right, we're going to get into Southampton, and we know, we've played Engine Rooms a couple of times. We know it's by that shopping mall. So we're like, we're just going to go to the mall and find some wellies. But when we saw our ETA was within 30 minutes of the mall closing, we asked the promoter, we're like, can you please go buy us some wellies? So we showed up to these puke green wellies. But I was very fortunate to have a pair of those at Download. It was absolutely fucked.
Really? Was it bad in the back as it was in the front?
Yeah, I think it was probably a little. I mean, he was in the front. I didn't go out. I didn't watch any bands because it was such a hassle to walk around and do anything. So it seemed like it was pretty fucked though. He came in and he didn't get wellies. Colin RTM, who you can't see because this is a podcast.
Yeah.
He's over here doing work to our right, but he completely ruined a pair of his shoes. And it was up 3-4 inches. But even having to walk to press and stuff, it wasn't even a far walk, but it was just slammed, dude. Even where the shuttle dropped us off behind the stage, just that little walk to the restroom behind the stage, back up to the stage, it was so gross. It was sloshy and muddy and it was so much water. It was just liquidy too. It wasn't even even thick. It was
it's bizarre. For anyone who hasn't been to a festival and experienced festival rain, this
is something we don't have in the States.
Yeah.
We don't have these kinds of festivals really. There's not. I think there's some there's Coachella and Bonnaroo and stuff like that, but that's geared more towards the pop people, and those are usually in places where it doesn't rain all the time and stuff like that. But it was crazy bad.
Now, that doesn't stop people loving them though. The community spirit Sam mentioned is a common theme. Founder member of the Killers, Dave Keuning, also loves the loose, chilled out nature of festivals.
If I could just play festivals, I'd probably be fine just playing festivals. Those are my favorite thing to do.
Yeah. Any particular reason why you like festivals?
Just, I think I like that you don't get a sound check.
Yeah.
You just go up there and you just do it.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of an atmosphere of looseness, and you're just kind of hanging with other bands and watching other bands, and it's also nice that you get a bigger crowd because some people are just kind of wandering in from other stages, and so maybe some other people get a chance to see you, and it's fun for everybody.
Okay, let's get back to Emma and our conversation last year in Manchester. Next, we move into the little bit more detail on some of the key do's and don'ts. I've actually got the same question twice here.
Okay.
Okay, bear with us. So, if I was in a band and we pricked your attention, what are the do's and don'ts to get on to it? We kind of discussed it already, but it was like 2 or 3 do's and 2 or 3 don'ts to either turn you on to it or turn you off to it. What would they be?
Be polite. Don't get angry if, for whatever reason, they can't book you. That's happened before. Not just bands either, managers as well. Yeah, just keep doing your thing and like don't try and get too bogged down in like, oh, we need to get a booking agent, we need to get a manager, we need to get a label. It's like just be good. Just be good, get fans, and you'll get fans by being good. Don't send CDs. That's just a personal thing though. I always feel really bad because some people have like these really beautifully crafted.
Spent lots of money on it.
Spent loads of money on it.
Beautiful product, which
so I
is
was like,
useless.
please just send me a link. Have a good live video. If you are sending an email direct to a booker, I'd say keep it very short and sweet. Or all I want to know is what you've been doing in the last 6 months, a link to your music, a link to a live video, and what you're planning to do for the next 6 months.
So when you see a live video, what
Yeah.
makes you think, ooh, I like them, versus, oh, not a chance?
That's a really hard question because I guess it comes down to personal taste in some ways. I guess you just want to make sure that they, probably if it's Kendal, probably just that they're really upbeat and like are good for a party and the crowd are enjoying themselves, if it's that kind of live video. For Blue Dot, maybe it's a bit different. I want to watch the live video because they might have some visuals, or if it's a producer or an electronic artist, you want to see what their setup looks like. So if it looks particularly impressive, then that might be quite a good thing. Obviously, it's all about what the music actually sounds like, but people are going to a festival to be entertained, so you want to have a good show as well.
So my other question, which is the exact same one. So if we were lucky enough to be on the lineup, what are the do's and don'ts at the festival? So once we rock up.
It's pretty much the same ones. Be polite. What bands I think sometimes either don't know or maybe forget is that the stage managers and artist liaison staff are often trying to get a foot into the music, or already have a foot into the music industry themselves. They will go from show to show to show and might be like repping shows for promoters in their city, or they'll be talking to people all the time. If you're nice to them and you're good and the tent's full, they're going to tell someone about it. I've had our stage managers recommend bands to me all the time. Oh, who was that band you booked? They really packed it out and they were so lovely and can't wait to see them again. That does make a difference. Just be nice to people. Don't take the piss.
Frank Turner said something similar. He said, just don't be a dick.
Yeah, don't be a dick. Exactly.
And Catherine Williams said that as well.
It's a common theme for a lot of artists.
It's amazing in the music.
So simple, right?
Yeah, but it's amazing how far you can get just by people getting on with you.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of competition, so would you rather like work with that new band who are arseholes or that new band who are lovely?
Yeah, to be fair, that kind of worked for us, didn't it? We were always nice to the sound person.
Sound person's very important.
Because they can make you sound very poor. We didn't need much help for that.
So what about for your more established bands? What do they get out of festivals? Justin Lockley of Editors.
Cool. So do you enjoy festival season as well?
Festival season is great. I mean, festival season is a lot more... In some ways, it breaks up the monotony of club tour. Because club tour is like town.
Yeah.
In festivals, we have very heavy festival bands, so we do 30 and 40 festivals a year.
Really?
So we're out at festivals Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday in a different country each day, mostly every weekend of summer, starting in May, ending in September. So we do a lot of travelling festival season. And some of those days you can be like, wake up in Croatia, and then you're in Denmark for the show that evening, and then the morning after that you're travelling to Italy, and then the morning after that you're travelling to Moscow. So we just essentially crisscross Europe and the world day in, day out. But you're home for 3 days in the middle of the week sometimes, because it's mostly a weekend thing, festivals. But a lot of them now extend. So now I just spend a lot of time in airports in the summertime.
So that's a lot on your your Twitter or your Instagram.
Which is just airport photos.
Yeah.
It's just airport photos. That's my life in summers, which I like, because I like flying. I mean, I don't like the impact it has on the environment, and I feel pretty guilty on that front, but there literally isn't another way of me getting from Moscow to Spain in one day other than flying.
Yeah.
So
let's go back to Tyler of State Champs. Festivals can be a great opportunity to win new people over.
I like going and seeing new people. Hot Chip were one of those for me.
Yes, they were.
They won me over at a festival.
Two of my favourite things at festivals, as you mentioned, are new bands and unexpected sets. For instance.
Glad you said sets.
Yeah. So how do you find festivals and touring itself? Does it depend on the day?
Yeah, I quite enjoy festivals because I think they're a nice break in the normal things that we do. It's nice to play club shows, but we play club shows 90% of the time. So when we get to do a festival tour like we're doing now, where we're mixing in club shows and then somebody's will be at the festivals, it's just kind of fun because we just play download. There's probably 5,000-6,000 people watching, but they weren't all State Champs fans, and that's awesome. That's why we're there.
Yeah,
we want to be playing to new people. If people don't know the words, we're not upset. We're not fuck, man, if you didn't know the words. We're like, we want you to go home and want to learn the words. So that's kind of the fun part for us. Is it kind of reignites that flame of you have something to prove here. When tonight we're at the Fleece and sold out tonight. I know that every person watching the band tonight is a fan of the band. They've probably seen us before, and that's awesome. That we meet that with a different energy.
Yeah.
We meet that with let's give you guys a show because you already like us. It's when you know someone likes you, you're happy to interact with them.
Yeah.
But when you don't know someone likes you, you kind of feel the challenge of I'm going to make this person like me.
Yeah. Go and buy a t-shirt.
Yeah, I buy a t-shirt. Even just okay, so we just did a tour with Fall Out Boy in the States.
Yeah.
2 weeks, whatever, 7 shows.
How was that? I bet they were big shows.
They were huge, yeah. And it was the same thing. People, it was all seated too. We don't play a lot of seated shows, as you can imagine. GA shows. We tried to feed off energy and moshing and singing along, crowd surfing, whatever. And there's a lot of people sitting arms crossed, on their phones.
Fall Out Boy concert.
Well, for us, they were get the fuck off the stage, where's Fall Out Boy? But a lot of those people, I think they didn't expect us. They didn't expect to like us. So when we, by the last song or the second to last song, we would see those people off their phones or standing up, putting their hands up, clapping, whatever, and interacting with the group. And that's the stuff that really gets us excited now is winning those people over and being we're worth your time.
Yeah.
And that is what I like about the festival setting is there's a lot of that. There's also a lot of friends on festivals, which is cool.
Yeah.
That's a pretty obvious thing about it. You get to play with bands of different genres. Get to be around friends you don't see a lot.
So a pretty full-on schedule if you go all in on festivals. But whether you're a big band or just at the start of your career, there are exciting things to be involved in and can take you to all kinds of places, like the Blinders are finding out at the moment. New guest alert, Ben.
Blinders from Doncaster, and he said Donny there. Got well into the spirit of there.
Well,
from Doncaster, I met them at the Hit the North Festival, run by Keith Armstrong, a future guest. What's the festival scene for this year going to look like?
So mainly abroad, really. We're trying to get out and play some shows over in Europe. So we're doing stuff like Benicassim and a few others in Holland, etc. We haven't got so many in England, but
we've got the Black Metal Festival in Lithuania.
Yeah, we're playing a Black Metal Festival in Lithuania, which I'm not sure that's going to go. Almost definitely, his face paint. So
right.
I think that's what's triggered that. But yeah, like I say, it's mainly overseas.
And is that something that you enjoy playing festivals?
Yeah, we've never really experienced it, so it's something we're excited to go out and actually do and see what the reaction's like in places such as Spain and Lithuania.
Now, not all festivals these days are in the middle of a field in the middle of nowhere. So to finish off, we ended our chat with Emma talking about showcase festivals. So what are these and how can they help new and up-and-coming bands and artists? Showcase. If you could explain the showcase in a minute to someone who has no idea what it is.
Sure. It's a multi-venue music industry conference in Manchester's Northern Quarter, and there is an emerging artist showcase in the evening as well.
Okay.
That's not really a minute, is it?
Doesn't have to be a minute.
Okay.
That's all.
So there used to be one called In the City. It was a conference and showcase festival. It kind of started back in the day when the internet wasn't as prevalent as maybe it is now. So they used to keep the lineup secret, and A&Rs, and it was when Universal had an office up here as well. And A&Rs would have to come up from London to find out who these hot new bands were. They were chosen by music industry people, as well as a kind of judging panel who picked from submissions. So In the City, the last one was in 2011, and myself and my director Andy, we met at a music industry conference in Brighton called Great Escape, and he met his business partner at a conference in Cumbria. So I think we kind of felt like conferences are important, and Manchester's probably one of the best places for live music in the country. Why don't we have one anymore? So we thought we'd start one. The artists are chosen by curators, so we also don't announce the lineup until just before the festival. And yeah, it's worked quite well. There's a conference during the day covering all sorts of topics. All the music colleges from around the region tend to have a presence there, and we do it in partnership with Sound City. So they've obviously got loads of experience running their own conference and festival. The last 2 years have been really good. It's really small.
Who are the different types of people who come to it, and why?
It's a real mix of kind of grassroots, more amateur people looking to further their careers in music, whether that's like managers or people running labels or musicians themselves. Then there's the student side of it, so BIM and LIPA and those kind of colleges that are more music focused, who are looking at it from a more business side. And then there's more established professionals who maybe they're speaking on a panel or something, and they'll be up there for the 2 days.
I'm sure Paul Smith mentioned that. I'm sure, or Johnny Higgs mentioned that. One of the, I didn't ever know Maximo Park definitely played one of these.
Oh really?
Back in the day.
They must have done in the city.
In the city, yeah. I'm sure it was Maximo.
Yeah, well, Coldplay got signed in the city. That's how the story goes.
It's all about the story.
Yeah.
So the curators, the panel, can you say who they are? How do you get in touch with
so we've
them?
announced them already. They are, so Everything are on board this year. They're going to be curating a whole lineup at one of the venues rather than just having one band on at the festival. So that's great. They're very passionate about supporting new artists, and
we know one of them, just saying.
You know one of them, yeah. So yeah, everything, and then we've got people like Rob DeBank or Hugh Stevens, Abby McCarthy. There's a writer from The Enemy called Tom Smith, another writer called Rasheen from The Independent. There's also a few more artists this year. So the Oriels, Fickle Friends, Jessica Hoop's going to do it. So yeah, it's a bit of a mix, but kind of more like media and artist focused. Just people that care about new bands, basically.
So then the end game could be getting signed, if that's what you want.
Yeah, I mean, I manage a band, and I've been managing them for 2 years, and they've been going for about 6 years, and we've just signed a record deal for their first album.
That's cool.
So I think it can take quite a long time. Maybe don't have any preconceptions about that, but you do see artists having meteoric rise, but I think they're the exception to the rule.
Yeah,
most of the time.
The faster they go down sometimes as well. I'm sure Kasabian took 10 years before even Plug Foot came out.
Yeah, I think Catfish and the Bottom have been going for like 8 or 9 years.
Yeah,
they only just got there. Yeah.
So festivals are all the fun. To get noticed for a festival slot, make sure you look like you're actually having fun when you play on stage. And remember, be reliable. Ultimately, make sure that you get the most out of them, and make sure that everyone involved enjoys them. That's what it's all about. Additional news snippets from the interviews you've heard today will pop up in other episodes later in the season. And at the end of season 2, we'll release each conversation with all of our guests in full as standalone episodes. As a reminder, if you like the show, please take a few seconds just to give us a rating and review wherever you get your podcasts from. It makes a huge difference in helping us grow our audience and promoting the show. Now, coming up next week, the topic is the record deal. Traditionally, this was a target for most artists. Should it still be today? What are the benefits and drawbacks of getting a deal? Amongst others, you'll hear from Keith Armstrong of Kitchenware Records, who also is the current manager of Jake Bug.
It's like a bit more commerce than art.
Yeah.
It's supposed to always be a mixture of both, but it depends how arty you're going to be.
All of the show notes for today's episode can be found at acpgmusic.com, along with our back catalogue of episodes. If you like what you hear, or perhaps have some improvements or specific guests you'd like us to consider, we'd love to hear from you. Email us at info@acpgmusic.com or hit us up on social media. Keep supporting upcoming artists, and we'll catch you next time.